What's up, everybody, and welcome to Weekday Wagers Live on a Monday, and we are back. It still is the holiday week, but we're going to continue on as always. Today on the show, it's a lot of what you normally get. We're going to break down the Monday night football game that is tonight, as well as talking about our best bets, and we have three. I have an extra bonus by today. We'll get into all of that here in about 15 minutes. But as always, we finish the show with our prime time pay dirt, and we'll get to that here in about 25 minutes as we continue on through the show. But go ahead and fill up the chat. As always, we'll get this party started. There is no recap to completely. What day do we recap? I didn't know. I didn't know what to do at that point because we really weren't here Friday as well, all the way to Wednesday. So we're going to recap a Tuesday show. That doesn't make sense. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm on the road today, as you can possibly see behind me. But one guy who's finally not on the road and back at home is Mark. What up, man?
DG, how you doing, bud? Yes, you're on the road. I'm in the friendly confines, and I'm bundled up because this is not the weather I'm used to right now, my friend. It's snowing, sleeting, and absolutely miserable here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Ready to dig into a little football, sit by the fire tonight, and try to hope for warmer weather.
Yeah, well, it's freezing cold here, too, because I can imagine how it is in a place that actually is cold. Like, it feels like 15, 16 degrees, it says, and it feels like that, maybe colder. But my bones can't take it. I'm getting old and obviously weak. But let's go ahead and get into this game tonight because this is the game that, honestly, there's a lot left to be desired within the season, but fantasy implications because there's a lot of offensive talent and defensive talent really on both sides. And so at this point, there might not be as much to play for in this game, but I think that there's a lot that this could happen in this game. The total is at 48.5, 49.5. It's teeter-tottering, as well as the spread is teeter-tottering. Is it +7? Or -7, or is it +7.5? Minus. There's so many different ways you can attack this game because that number is teeter-tottering on two key points. And so, how are you attacking this game?
Yeah, I think this game it screams Rams to me all over the place. And yes, I know Atlanta has been ultra competitive, and they have been eliminated from the playoffs for the last few weeks. And they've still been playing hard. They've still been playing competitive, and they've been close in games. I just don't think that they're going to have the gas left in the tank to do that for the next 2 weeks, especially against a Rams defense that is looking to reset itself and get into playoff mode quickly because of what happened last week in Seattle, right? I mean, they lost in overtime. The Seahawks were able to move the ball, and I think that this is a Rams defense that really needs to reestablish itself and really needs to fundamentally hold this Atlanta Falcons team in check.
Yeah, I'm looking at the spread results, and it's the Rams are 10-3 just overall. The Falcons are 8-6 at home. They're 2-4. It looks like. I can't really see right now on the screen, but 5-1 away are the Rams. And so realistically, you're looking at a really good, against the spread team, and the Rams and a not so good team in the Falcons. But when I look at this game, we were talking right before the show. We're like, all right, so what's the possibilities of what do we get out of this game? Because, there should be a lot to play for. But now, after that win last night with San Francisco over Chicago, there's not really much jockeying the Rams can do at this point. They're stuck in a wild card spot. There's no way they can win the division. They can't be the number one seed. None of that can happen. And so at this point, I know that they are in a wild card spot, which is going to be the 5, 6, or 7. And right now, just looking at it, just as a live look, I see that they're at the 6. They're not going to be able to drop down to the 7. The only possible thing is they might jump up to the 5 if for some odd reason that San Francisco loses to Seattle. And so at that point, you're talking about the 5 or 6. Do they actually try in this game?
Yeah, I think they have to, right? I mean, they have to for all the reasons that I just talked about. That defense needs to get itself right. They cannot go into the playoffs allowing what they did for the Seahawks to just move the ball and put up a ton of points against a Rams defense that has been solid all season. Yeah. I think they need to get back in check. I also think, and this kind of leads into what Rich is asking us, do I think Kyron Williams or Corum are going to play the whole game? I think they do, because the passing game for me is the one that scares me the most for the Rams. They're not going to, if their defense shows up and they're able to hold Atlanta in check, they're not going to need the passing game to the extent that they have relied on it all season. Give the balls to the horses, let Corum, let Kyron Williams do their thing, and just eat up clock, eat up yards, and keep those chains moving.
All right, if I'm looking at their lines real quick, I'm going to go look through Kyron Williams. He's at right now 65.5 rush yards, and his receiving usually has a pretty low number, 11.5. But then Blake Corum is sitting at 45.5. So 45.5 and 65.5. Obviously, they're over the 100 mark together. So that's the books think the same way you do. They think that there's going to be more relied on a heavy spot on the ground. Matt Stafford, 270.5 is his passing number.
Yeah, that scares the hell out of me. It really does. I think that, one, it's a huge number. And I just don't think the offense needs the attention that the defense does. So I think the Rams' defensive focus is going to be paramount tonight. I actually like attacking Matthew Stafford's first quarter passing yards instead of his full game, simply because I think that if this thing turns into a blowout, and I also like the Rams against the spread. I took it earlier in the week when it was at -8. It's dropped down to now 7.5 or 7. So you can get a better line there. I liked it at 8. I still love it at 7, especially. But I think the Rams win this by at least double digits. And I don't think they're going to have to rely on the passing game to do that. I like Stafford's first quarter passing yards. I believe it's at 45 is his first quarter passing yard stat.
I'm showing 59.5.
59.5. Look, he's averaging almost 80 in the first quarter of the season. So I love that spot too. Yeah.
So you're right on it. So 59.5, pretty much -110 is kind of where everything is. And so we'll see how that plays out just overall within that number. But I do like that look. Let's take another look real quick. Boogie brings up a good point. Bijan over the 4.5 receptions, and then Corum over his rushing yards. Rushing yards for Blake Corum is 45.5. He likes that, as well as the receptions for Bijan Robinson. So let's go look at Bijan Robinson's numbers real quick. His rushing yards are at, where are his rushing yards? All it shows me, this is weird, 19.5.
His rushing, no.
What happened? Did they steal Bijan Robinson? Who stole him? What? Yeah. All right. So Doink is Doink is not right.
Bijan Robinson's line right now is at 74.5.
Yeah.
His rushing yards.
Right.
He's cleared it in 8 of the last 10 games. 8 of the last 10 home games, and in 6 of the last 7 games he's played, he's averaging 93 rushing yards. But again, he's gone against teams like Tampa Bay allows runs, Arizona runs, the Jets, right? Yeah. Carolina, Indianapolis. He hasn't faced the Rams defense that is substantially better than all of those teams that he was able to run against. I do think I'm really back. Listen, I'm all in on the Rams tonight.
Okay.
Full disclosure.
So definitely fade the Rams.
Yeah, fade the Rams. If you're going to make money, go opposite of everything I'm going to say right now. Fade me, I dare you.
All right.
But I think that the Rams are all in on the defense. Again, I think that's paramount going into the playoffs. I charped on it already. I think they slow Bijan down. I love Corum, actually, to get some rushing yards, because I think if anything, they're going to lean on him heavily in the second half if the game script plays out and the NFL scripting plays out the way that this game is supposed to. Yeah, they'll be able to rely on Corum and give Kyron Williams a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, Rich says he bet him last game. They both went over their yardage, as well as Corum scoring a touchdown. So that's a great look. Boogie says that Bijan Robinson is the 44.5 on his receiving yards. His 4.5 receptions is right around the same, -114, -115. if you want to get his 5 receptions. And looking at his receptions, I'm going to see if maybe this is right with Doink. At this point, I don't even know. There's no way this is right. All right, so what is it looking at for you?
So for Blake Corum, the line for him is
Blake Corum. Not Blake Corum. Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson for receptions.
Yep.
He's at 4.5. Yikes. He's cleared this in 3 of his last 4. And I think that's probably going to be the way. So if I look at this from the Atlanta side, how do you get Bijan the ball and get him outside the tackles to get him into some open playing field? I think you start running some screens and get him out into the flats for some checkdowns. Actually, I like this look. In the last 2 games, he's got 15 receptions in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's a good look because then you take the yardage out of it, even though his yardage isn't a huge number. So, And yes, it is confusing because I think Boogie is bringing up the Corum. It was 44.5 as well in FanDuel. They're both at 44.5 right there. If you're looking at Corum's rushing yards or Bijan Robinson's receiving yards. So both are right there at that same number. But I think both are great looks. If you're taking the yardage for either guy, as well as the over 4.5 receptions for Bijan Robinson. But how do you think this game plays out just overall?
Well,
it's all Rams? I don't see how.
I think it is only from a mental standpoint. I think that last week's loss to Seattle was paramount. And I think that if anything, they need to come out and have an explosive game. They need to come out and really dominate this game to get that momentum, to get that juice back as they head into. These starters are not going to be playing next week, right? They're playing the Cardinals next week. So you're talking about Kyren Williams being out, Matthew Stafford being out. Look for that entire receiving core. They might start and run the first series to keep a game started kind of record intact. Right. Josh Allen is another great example of this. Josh Allen's not playing next week either for the Bills because there's no reason to start putting people in jeopardizing situations that they could get hurt for the playoffs. These guys are not playing next week. Look for them to really come out and get in tune today.
All right. Well, I'm curious how this plays out because I see this as being a shootout. I really do. I think the Rams, they're good on defense at times, and I think they have struggled as of late. I really do think Atlanta is ripe for if you're giving me plus 7.5, so just keep this thing within a touchdown. I think this could easily stay within the touchdown. You're talking about looking for an expected 50 points. The model has this at 48.9. Okay. That is not what we want to hear because we're right on the edge of both ways. But this could be a really good game. And I think this could be a shootout to the point of close at halftime, third quarter. Maybe the Rams get up by, 2 touchdowns, come down a late touchdown for Atlanta to cover the 48.5 as well as cover the 7.5, and that's where I would land at. Is I would give me that hook in my favor because if I can get that for on the cheap, right? You can get that plus 7.5 at minus 115 most places, and so at that point, I would take the hook for sure on my side.
And here's the only thing that scares me about that, DG, in backing the Falcons at this point is that let's look at what they've done the last 4 weeks, the 5 weeks, really. You go back, they played the New Orleans Aints, they played the Jets, they played the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, and the Cardinals. They've been able to score against every single one of those teams except the Seahawks. They managed 9 points. And we're talking about defenses, you talk about a similar defense to the Seahawks as we're getting with the LA Rams tonight. I just think when you start looking at that body of work over the last 5 weeks, I don't think they can stay competitive in this.
Wow. All right. It'll be interesting to see for sure how this all plays out because I think this will be a game that will be much closer. And I hope for my sake that Matt Stafford goes off. I hope the Rams defense dominate because then Scotty Y, it's me. I am the champion of the Weekday Wagers fantasy football for sure. So There's a lot to be left there. And I believe he has Kyle Pitts. And so he's wanting to go Kyle Pitts first touchdown. He's thinking ladder Kyle Pitts touchdowns. I think Kyle Pitts sucks tonight, Scott. And I think he need to bench him. I'd put anybody there. I'd put a blank space there if I was you. I think he has a terrible night.
I would contact Robbie Hockey and see who he has available for a quick trade because he gave up on his team a long time ago.
True. All right, well, let's get into our plays. Before we get there, let's hear from Mr. Traders himself.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Seabass, the only 5-star chef in the game. We all know sports betting is full of bad beats and tough calls, but when it comes to flavor, there's no second guessing. Bassett's Blends is the plus EV lock of every meal. We don't need a stinking model. Crafted with winning spices and bold taste, Bassett's Blends comes in 3 flavors, original, hot, and no salt, that's going to turn chicken, steak, vegetables, any dish into a can't-miss cover every night. With Bassett's Blends, there's no bad beats, no flavor fades, just guaranteed greatness. Check out the link right here where you can pick up your Bassett's Blends for a guaranteed lock every single night.
All right, we are going with a little hockey action tonight. Why? Because that game is going to be exciting. The football game is going to be exciting enough to watch, but I'm going to stick to what I really enjoy, and that is a first period under 1.5 goals, and that's for the Washington Capitals and the Florida Panthers. You can get that at -105, so not that chalky, Joe. Look, this is simply a play because when you look at what these teams do in the first 10 minutes of a period to start the game, both the Panthers and the Capitals get off to very slow, methodical starts. They play very controlled, low-event first periods. Logan Thompson is going to be in goal. He's expected to be starting for Washington. He owns a 93.2% first period save rate, and he's held opponents scoreless in 17 of his 27 starts this season. Love this spot for him. You're going to get Sergei Bobrovsky holding it down for the Panthers, and he's only allowed he's only allowed 2 or more goals in 1 of his last 7 starts. So meaning 6 of his last 7, he's held teams under 1 goal. He's got a 91.2% save rate in the first period. And I think in this one, we're going to get 2 teams that come out, like I said, methodically, very slow. They're patient. They look to score in the second and third periods. They look to wear teams down in the first period. This sets up for a very quiet opening frame tonight.
Speaking of a quiet opening frame, that was Seabass to start the show because obviously we heard nothing from him. And I was looking in the chat as well, and it looks like none of you all heard from him as well. But I'm going to start with Anthony Black and go over his 1.5 3-pointers at +100. And if you're wondering who's Anthony Black, well, he plays for the Orlando Magic, and he's the shooting guard, the starting shooting guard. There is no Franz Wagner. There is no Jalen Suggs. No matter if it does say that he is questionable or even doubtful in their injury report, his hip is screwed up. They're trying to give him more and more time. He is not coming back. Anthony Black is going off right now, but all that sounds great. But if I was to tell you that he's covered this in the last 4 games, 3 of the last 3 games when Suggs and Wagner have been out, he has now went 15 of 26. That is not 15 and 20. He is 15 of the last 26. The dude is on fire. Okay, so yes, he's heating up. He's shooting lights out. But let's go to his rebounds and assists as well, because he's also doing well. And so I like him overall tonight. I see this as at getting his 5 boards at least. And so if you need 5 boards, 4 assists, that gets us to the 9 number. But he's getting the more minutes no matter if they're playing or not playing. But because he is playing more minutes due to their injuries, he's averaging 6 rebounds in a game at 4.7 per game just over the last 10, not alone just the last 3 when Suggs has really been out. And so I like Anthony Black tonight to get over the 8.5 rebounds and assists and keep cashing tickets for us. All right. So Mark, did you see the same thing I saw when Seabass came on? I'm like, I think we're still on the show, and he's not saying anything. Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I was nervous, and you're on mute as always. But we're gonna continue this thing.
Go ahead. I saw the same thing you did.
Yes, I don't know what happened. So anyway, but yes. So tonight, get your first period under with you, Washington, Florida, and then Anthony Black for the Orlando Magic. Somehow we're both in Florida. Look at that. We're smart people.
Well, it's
All right,
that
let's get to
warm
our
weather.
Yeah, we need something in our life. We need some warm weather. All right, let's go to our primetime pay dirt tonight. And this is what we're looking at. Okay, we have the Rams and the Falcons. So we need to find somebody who's going to score. If you like maybe the first touchdown, that's fine. But let's go ahead and go with just anytime touchdowns. I'm going to go with a plus 230 for Tyler Algier because he's always going to be that guy who sneaks one away from Bijan Robinson. And then Drake London at plus 185. Kyle Pitts at 240, probably won't score. And then Kyron Williams plus 105. Blake Corum plus 170. And then Colby Parkinson at plus 190. Where are you going, Mark?
Give me Blake Corum. I think that he's going to get I think Kyron Williams at plus 105 is always a great look for an anytime touchdown simply because his number is usually like minus 110, minus 130 in most cases. But I really do think that we're going to see a lot of Blake Corum. We're going to keep Kyron Williams healthy. I think that he's going to get his touches. He's going to get his yardage. He's going to find the end zone. But I like the plus 170 with Corum, and I agree with your take on Algiers just vulturing Bijan
Vultures.
down there, and he gets that 2-yard push into the end zone. So, yeah, I like Blake Corum the best out of that.
Yeah, somehow we'll have a Tyler Algier score, and that's where I'm going to go. Plus 230 for a guy who continues to steal touchdowns from Bijan Robinson. I'm going to just go with. I do agree that Kyron Williams at 105 plus 105. We were playing him for a team first touchdown last year. I think he did that almost in every single game. Dude was on. He was crazy last year.
14 out of 18 games last season. He was the Rams' first touchdown.
That's nuts, and that's kind of where I'm at. I just think it's going to be more of Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, and Puka Nacua. I think you can go very simple with that. I think it's Bijan and Tyler Algier. I don't know if I like Drake London to score. He just hasn't showed me a lot lately. Kyle Pitts has been awesome, and the Rams have really struggled against the tight end. But I just don't think he scores tonight just because I need to win. And so I think it's a Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson, maybe old man Kirk Cousins somehow squeezes one in himself, but just don't throw to Kyle Pitts, and then we're good. And the night is great for everybody. So
everybody wins.
Yeah, everybody wins. All right. Well, send us what you got as well, because I see right here that Robbie Hockey's going with, I don't know, Kanata Monkfield. Is that name made up? Plus 340 at a primetime pay dirt. It's made up, right?
No, that's legit. He is the wide receiver too. He took over for Devontae Adams. He had 8 targets last week, if I remember correctly.
All right. Well, I guess that's not.
As I'm reading Robbie's notes.
Right. Well, he has Blake Corum first touchdown at plus 1,000. I can't believe that's an option. And plus 1,000 is a really high number for a guy who scores a lot. And so, yeah, I do like that. But I don't, just like Joe, I don't know who this Monkfield guy is. Monada, Mentada, I don't know.
Matata mumps are bad for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, all right. Well, that's all we got on the show today. Anything that you had before we get out? Hold on, we got Hingle McCringleberry.
What?
Who is that? That can't be.
That's Nate. Don't.
Oh, I had this. I want to run this by you. I forgot. We'll end the show on this one. D. Johnson, I forgot. He asked this early in the show before we start talking about the game. Bradley Pinion. Got to be the punter. Over 3.5 punts. Who the hell is Bradley Pinion?
And
you should have been ready for punts. You know
what?
Asked for punts.
I did. I was one of those things. I'm like, make sure you look up for your kicking data. You got to look up some punts. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, then I completely got wrapped up in the NHL. That is on me. I am looking this up right now.
I would love to know who does he even play for? Which team?
I'll tell you right now.
It's got to be Atlanta, right?
If it's Atlanta, I'd be all over it.
So I can't be there.
Yeah. So he plays for Atlanta. You know what? I wouldn't be opposed to Ethan Evans over his punts. What's the line on the Atlanta punter?
Who is the Atlanta punter?
Who we just
Is that
asked?
Ethan Evans?
Bradley Pinion.
Oh, that is Bradley Pinion. It's at 3.5,
Yeah.
right? I don't know what the line is. I'm going to look at it real quick. But I'm not sure who carries those again. So all I see is field goal props. Punt total 7.5. Who?
Actually, I would play the punt total at 7.5. I like that for both of them, simply because I think with all the scoring that happened last week, the Rams ended up kicking 4 punts in that one. I think that if we get some defensive stops on either side, so if the Rams are running the ball and they get some stops, Atlanta's able to stop them. If they can ship in, three punts all night, I think Atlanta ends up kicking 5, which carries us over the 7.5. And Bradley Pinion over 3.5 punts. I think that gets you there. I think Atlanta's kicking at least 4. Atlanta's kicking 4 punts, period.
But are they though? They averaged 2 in the last 3 games.
Yeah. Look, the Rams defense is going to come correct.
Here.
The Rams defense is going to come correct. They're going to get back in. They're just going to find their mojo again, and they're going to shut this Falcons team down. The Falcons have checked out. That gas to be competitive with nothing really left in the season. Yeah, they don't even have. There's not even like an offensive player who has an incentive, that they're incentive milestone that they're shooting for this game. So I think that you start looking at that, and it's like, okay, so what is the motivation? It's now they're playing to not get hurt for next season.
Yeah. All right. Well, I listen. I know they have done well as of late, and like. The Rams forced 3.7 point punts per game, 4.3 in the last 3 games, and they forced 5 in the last game, which just means they're turning the right direction. Home and away splits aren't that big of a deal. So I think you're right on that number, but you got to think how many series you're looking at, maybe 8 series a game. So you're asking for them to punt on half of their series. I think that's a big. I think that 4 number scares me. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I just don't think the Rams have been that great.
They're averaging how many series a game?
I'm saying that's like on average, you're looking at probably about 8, right? 2 per quarter. That's kind of on the average in the NFL.
I think it's a little higher than that.
Well, maybe you can figure it out, but I can't figure it out right now while we're doing the show.
I think that number that you're looking for is 11.2.
Maybe, but yeah, well, whatever. I'm just saying in general, like that's kind of where we're at. I just don't see that tonight. I think we're under on punts. I think we're under on field goals, and I think we're over on touchdowns. I think this is a 50+ point game, and I think it's going to be plus 7.5 coverage by Atlanta.
The only way this thing gets over 50 is if the Rams end up scoring 56.
Just saying. What 50? What?
Yeah.
And yes, D. Johnson loves your analysis because you agree with him. I'm disagreeing. We'll see who wins tonight, D. Johnson.
D. Johnson, I'm all over it. Let's go. We'll
see.
Punters are people too.
Yeah, they for sure are. All right, let's end that show on that.
We have one more.
What up? David Sills first. All right. I recognize his name. Who is David Sills?
He's the punter.
He's got to be for. No. He's the receiver, wide receiver 3 for the Falcons. Look at Big Cheesy coming here. Happy New Year. But also his play, Kaysen Wallace, over 7.5 points at -110. Plays for the Thunder. I hate the Thunder. I hope that they all get sick tonight. And so I hope he goes under. But that is a good look, Cheesy, for Kaysen Wallace.
I also like Kaysen Wallace to hit 1+3. He's a consistent. His line is at over 1 to hit 1 or more threes, and his line stays there. And he is a great look if you're looking to play a 3-pointer. You can mix him into a parlay, or most of the time you can just play his straight.
Yeah, I would just not watch a game with a bunch of floppers the entire game. When you look at OKC Thunder, it's literally like it's a game that I would be like, I'd rather not watch if it's OKC Thunder playing. I'd rather just run into the wall with my eyes closed and watch a game with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I bet he can't even spell his last name.
I love the fact that you know how to welcome everybody into this conversation.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But that's no more of that. We're not going to be talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder. F the Thunder. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see everybody then. There's no more of this show and Thunder happening on our show. But we'll see you definitely all tomorrow. Thank you for being a part of us, being a part of your day, making us hopefully we're being the best part of your day. But this is going to be a somewhat busy week. I know it's filled with holidays and the year the new year right around the corner. And so I'm not exactly sure how we're going to piece together these shows, but we'll figure it out as we go throughout the week. But we'll make sure we let everybody know. But thank you all again for hanging out with us and doing this life with us. Let's keep this thing going. We'll see you all tomorrow.